Paltrocast.
Hey, Dan, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
Great. Thank you for taking the time to do this. Your new movie, when did you actually finish making it?
Well, I don't consider myself the person that made the movie, but I'm a part of it, and I made sure the wrestling scenes were good, and they actually gave me a couple small parts. But Glenn Withrow and his family actually are pretty good producers in Hollywood, and they have put this film out. So, that's basically it. It's been in the makings for a couple years.
I can imagine.
And really my involvement was they reviewed the wrestling because it's not a wrestling show, but the sport of wrestling is the sport that's kind of notarized in there. And so they watched it from a wrestling point of view. They hired a local guy, and he looked at them and said, "Whoa, you need some work on that." So they said, "Well, you want to help us?" They go, "No, why don't you get this guy named Dan Gable, and if you can hire him, it'd probably be worth your time on the promotion of the movie." So I flew out, stayed a couple days, helped fix that up, and then they decided that they wanted me to help promote the movie, which has been a good thing. I've been getting a lot of hype, especially since won this Presidential Medal of Freedom. So
that was the next thing I was going to ask about.
Yeah, it came out about the same time. So
yeah. I've of the thousands of interviews I've done, I don't think I've ever spoken with somebody who has that U.S. presidential medal and all that. Does it change your life other than being able to say, "Hey, I've got that medal"?
Nothing really changes my life. I'm the same kid that I was born, on this earth for. So it just adds to it. It gives me a chance to speak out more, to do what I love. I love the sport of wrestling. That's been my profession. That's been my amateur sport. Taking it to the highest levels, and it's a sport that you got to work at. I mean, it's not a football, basketball, baseball. It's one of these things that if you don't stay at it, kind of, you get lost a little bit. So, I love this. And tell me a little bit about this website.
So it's a cultural website. I post interviews more days than not on it, where I speak to people about their latest projects and what they've got going on. And when they said, "Do you want to speak to Dan Gable?" and I go, "I know who Dan Gable is. Are you kidding me?" As a professional wrestling fan, you learn, for example, that Chad Gable is named after you.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Is that something that anyone consulted you on, or did you all of a sudden start seeing merchandising that said "Ready, Willing, Gable," and you went, "Oh, that's me"?
It was after the fact, but it was one of these things that was like, hey, he's a good guy. His intentions are great. It's going to promote what he wants. It's going to promote my sport, So, no, it's been good.
When I was in high school, Kurt Angle came to our high school.
Where are you from?
It's on Long Island. It's called Belmore JFK. Unfortunately, Amy Fisher went to our high school, so that's the most famous thing about it. But Kurt Angle visited right after he won the Olympic gold, and everybody was super excited. And then as soon as he went into professional wrestling, the gym teacher went, "No, let's paint over the mural." So there's always been that big distinction of, even though so many professional wrestlers have a collegiate background, it's kind of looked down upon, I find.
Well, I don't know if you know this, but there is a wrestling amateur museum in my hometown of Waterloo, Iowa.
Yes.
And it has a professional wing. And we try to keep it to professionals that have amateur wrestled, but it's not perfect by that means, because some people actually win the award because they fit the award better. But Kurt Angle is in that museum, and he's a pretty amazing guy because he's, besides being a great amateur and Olympic wrestler, you know, I think he's done UFC, and I think he's done, well, I know he's done pro, so.
Yeah, I believe that museum you're talking about, the comedian Brooks Wheelan's brother works there. Brooks Wheelan was on Saturday Night Live for a season or two, and he talks about amateur wrestling a lot. So you find a lot of comedians, him and Jay Moore, that their work ethic and determination really comes as a result of them studying amateur wrestling.
Right. No, you know, it's just, you know, I'll tell you what, to do what the pros do and to survive, you know, it's like, wow, you know, they've had some training, and it's not just easy to bounce off the ground, you know, that type stuff. So, you know, you got to respect them a little bit. And what I've really found out, though, is that they respect me and amateur wrestling, if, you know, especially the ones that have done it, but they all do. So it's been a whole new group of people that have kind of started supporting amateur wrestling with this pro wing. So I like it.
Agreed. And the last champion, you mentioned that they brought you in to make sure that the wrestling itself looked good. I'd imagine that you had seen movies over the years, though, where you look at the wrestling and go, oh, that's not a takedown.
I don't know if I would say that, or I would say, I don't know if I want that move on there. That might not be helping us, you know, promote our sport, especially when little kids and things like that. But, and you always see the same kind of moves, the big moves that are highly unlikely to happen. And, you know, because we have a lot of leg tackles and all that kind of stuff, but sometimes that spectacular through the air bounce on the mat is what people like. But there's a lot of great moves that we have that are really scientific or involved with a lot of skill and technique that if you don't hit that skill right, it won't work. You'll fall flat on your face. But anyway, so I got this, you know, I'm involved with The Last Champion, and this movie is, you know, it's for everybody right now. It's quite a long movie, a couple hours long, but it's kind of what's needed right now in the country to kind of relax, have a good family movie, but it's a little bit rough, but not bad. But it's about, you know, it's about a kid that actually messes up and gets kicked out of the Olympic Games. And he was one of my wrestlers. You know, they got him. That was kind of after the fact. And then he comes back to his hometown because his mom dies, small little town, and the town doesn't accept him yet. And all of a sudden, the wrestling coach, they need a wrestling coach. And so who better than this guy? But they're leery of him a little bit. But he goes in there, and now he's got to make some decisions again, which could not be good for him. And he you know, I think he comes out all right. But it's a good hometown movie. But it's something that I think we need right now. And it's doing really well. It's doing really well, and you know, on Google and iTunes, it's winning top place for a while here, and you know, it's really good. You know, and so the other thing that's been really good with me is this. I don't know if you can see this.
Yeah,
this presidential medal here from the president, obviously. And like you said, not too many people win that. I was the first wrestler, actually. I was the first wrestler to win that award. And, of course, you know, the president has to be a little funny. And he says, do you think I can take you? I might be able to take you. And he goes, what's my chance? And I said, no chance. And they loved that. You know, the crowd loved it, the media. So, you know, that's one of those things. So, you know, it was fun. It was fun. And I'm proud to have won this award. And so now it opens the doors for all these other people. You know, you usually go out on the mat and you can win or lose.
Yeah.
But it's because I've won a lot, and not only won a lot, but I've also did books and movies, movie type, just my promotion. I mean, I got a painting out there. I got a nutrition drink. I got a celebratory drink out there. There's just so many things that have helped promote our sport. And this is just one more thing that people out there in our sport can say, hey, I may not be the first, but I want to win that award.
Yeah, I would argue you're maybe the first person that was able to make a living within amateur wrestling after the Olympic heyday.
Well, I had to stay in as a coach.
Yeah.
There's a few things I had to do, though. You had to use some business skills like wrestling camps, that type of stuff. And so what I really find out today is like I get on like talking to you, and all of a sudden I'm talking to you, and you'll go, hey, I went to your wrestling camp back in
I didn't. Friends of mine did, yeah.
But it's like those wrestling camps did me well.
Yeah.
I mean, they hit a lot of kids. I mean, I think we had during the summer probably, at least 2,000 kids that came in just on Iowa University's campus. And that's not even included where I'd go out and go to camp. So, I really touched a lot of kids, and I did it well. And I think that makes a big difference in our sport and makes a difference in me now.
And still makes a difference. And because the people that you teach are then going to teach the future generation. So it all starts with Dan Gable. That's what I say.
It doesn't start with me, but I'll tell you what, it starts with a person like me. And there's been many like me, but maybe not quite to that extreme. I mean, Kurt Angle even says, whoa, when I watched you wrestle, I watched your tapes. He goes, you hurt people. I go, well, I don't know about hurt because there's legal rules in amateur wrestling, but I put a lot of pressure on people, and it caused them to, have that fear a little bit. And you need that a little bit in athletics. People have to respect you, but if they think they can beat you, you don't want them to do that. One time this guy thought he could beat me, and he beat me because I was off celebrating before I even won it. But I came back after that. I came back.
Well, you got time for 2 quick questions, and then you're free.
Sure. Yeah.
Okay, the first one. I apologize for keeping on bringing it back to pro wrestling, but nobody has ever been able to answer this, and I have a feeling that you know the answer to this. The Iron Sheik, they always talk about him actually coaching the U.S. Olympic team or assistant coaching the U.S. Olympic team. Is that true, or is that just a made-up myth?
Well, why can't anybody answer that except me? Because I know the answer.
Because you were there.
I was there. It was the year I was training for the Olympic Games in 1972. It was the University of Minnesota in their field house. It's the same place they still wrestle and play basketball. They've redone it a little bit, but the Iron Sheik showed up, and he was wrestling pro at that time, and he was a famous Iranian wrestler. And one of the reasons why he was looking up to me was because I was training for the Olympics, and the number one guy, well, I was actually the number one guy in the weight class from the year before, but the 5 or 6 years before that, it was an Iranian. And so they had learned to respect me. So the Iranian Sheik respect me, but he was, he was a big guy. I was a 150 pounder. He probably weighed 220, 230 at that time, maybe, but he actually stepped out on the mat, and we tangled. And you know what? He was pretty good. I mean, he was an amateur wrestler in his day, and then he went pro, but he didn't take me. And, I'm not going to give him that much credit, but he learned to respect me. But the big thing was I wasn't able to throw him around, and I mean, he was supposed to be able to throw me around, but he'd been out of it for a while. And I had another guy on the team that weighed 450 pounds named Chris Taylor. He was our heavyweight, and he was from Iowa State University too, and he ended up winning the bronze medal, and I had to work out with him. And why? Because they needed some guys that were tough enough to be able to wrestle this guy, because 450 pounds, nobody was within 200 pounds of his weight, So sometimes I just knew physics and wrestling position and leverage very well, very well.
Hence why the president's saying, could I take Dan Gable? And the answer being no chance. That leads into that one. So what's the best website and place online for us to keep up on all your projects and entrepreneurial efforts?
Oh, well, you can just go to dangable.com. But if you want to follow, our sport, we have what's called USA Wrestling, themat.com. They have a lot. But, dangable.com just has, my little interests. But I got a lot of interests. And I was just talking with themat.com, USA Wrestling today, Rich Bender, who heads up everything, and he agrees that he should be putting out more publicity about these interviews. I already had a call from the head of what's called UWW. UWW is United World Wrestling, and that's our head guy in the world. And I think he lives in Serbia, but he probably has a place in Russia too, because the Russians and the Iranians are very good in wrestling, along with the Americans and a lot of other countries. But we're spread out, and a couple of 3 years ago, we finally worked together, kind of unlike what's going on in the world right now in politics. Mm-hmm. By that, I mean, instead of wanting to beat the Russians and they wanting to beat us for about a 6-month period, we decided to join groups. And you know what? We came out of it pretty good. And the strength of our programs worldwide are improving, and we have the right leadership, mm-hmm. and we're moving in the right direction. And I think that's a good example for what's taking place right now in the United States of America. So
makes sense to me. Well, congratulations on the film happening, being out, and looking forward to seeing what's coming next from you soon, Dan.
Hey, it's a good movie. One of my daughters, halfway through the movie watching it, started yelling. So that's a good sign. And I mean, a good yell. It's like, feel good. Feel good. That's what you need to do. Want to feel good. So anyway, thanks.
Exactly. Thanks, Dan. Have a great rest of the day and keep it up.
All right. Take care.
Paltrocast.